Now, families of murdered children at Kapayili in Tamale are calling on the Inspector General of Police to ensure that the suspect involved in the murder of 2 children is dealt with in accordance with the laws of the country. Now, according to them, the heinous crime committed by Malam Mahadi is unpardonable. The 2 children, both aged 3, were murdered at Kapayili in the suburb of Tamale in the northern region. Their almost decomposed and dismembered bodies, abandoned in a vehicle, were discovered at a house belonging to a suspect identified as a ritualist. Now, the children went missing on June 22, 2024 after days of searching with no results. An official complaint was made to the police on June 25, 2024. Investigations then led to the arrest of Malam Mahadi, who was granted bail by the police and cannot be found. Meanwhile, child rights advocacy groups have questioned the decision of the police to hastily release the main murder suspect on bail. Private legal practitioner Malm Hesse and child rights CEO Bright Apia have both described his release as unfortunate.
It has not even been 48 hours upon the arrest of the certain gentleman. And because the law allows for 48 hours detention, immediately after which the person must be arraigned before court, where prosecution seeks to further remand, or where the police is seeking to further remand the person for further investigation. And the exercise, the police ordinarily can exercise certain degree of discretion, but in this high case of murder, one wonders why the hurry by the police to grant the person bail by themselves and not even have the court grant the bail than they themselves.
It is true that all offences now are available, but there are certain circumstances that the court itself can use their discretion to decide whether or not the person deserves to be bailed or not. But looking at this particular instance, we feel that the exercise of discretion should be more prominent in terms of how they can, because such a person globally will serve as a threat to children. So the free movement of the person must be restricted by the system so that we don't see occurrence of this, so that they can also have time to do proper investigation to establish. But to release the person on the basis of what the law establishes without the court exercising its authority of using the discretionary powers given to them to restrain the person and to limit the movement of the person in order to have a very smooth investigation. We think that can also compromise the process. So we want a situation where the system would really deal with this matter. And it's about children, and children issues are very dear to the nation. So we expect that every system that handles the welfare of children must also act in a manner that shows that the state is interested in the welfare of children. Once it involves a child.
Well, quite worrying developments there, but of course we'll bring you more details of this particular story in our subsequent bulletins. Now, on to some more stories. Brace yourselves for yet another hike in electricity prices starting July 1. Now, electricity costs, as announced by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission in June 2024, will see a 3.45% increment for lifeline consumers and a 5.84% increase for all other residential consumers. Business owners in Accra, however, say they simply cannot afford another increment. Here's a report.
A once bustling cold store is now a pale shadow of its past. Here at the Israel Cold Store in Kotobabi, business is slow. Owner of the shop says the current cost of utilities and other goods on the market has drastically affected work. And now she fears her shop that has been in existence for over 30 years may completely close down with yet another increment in electricity costs.
They want our businesses to collapse. That's why they keep increasing the prices. Most governments come with good policies, but they do not fulfill them. I don't know what they want us, the business owners, to do since they keep increasing the prices.
A statement signed by PURC's Executive Secretary, Ishmael Aka, in June 2024, blamed the last increment on factors including the exchange rate, domestic inflation rate, and the cost of fuel, mainly natural gas. And businesses that depend heavily on electricity for operation are bearing the brunt. Angel works at a printing press in Accra New Town. She explains most machines in her office have been put out of use due to the cost of electricity. For her, another hike will only worsen the situation.
Now we can't operate a lot of the machines here because when you buy 200 cedis within 3 days, then it's off. So we have to recharge. So nowadays, things, even businesses are down because people even can't print. When you increase the prices, they start complaining. So we can't use the machines anymore.
Tyra, a hairstylist also in Newtown, says she might have to lay off some of her workers due to the debilitating effects of the utility hike.
It's affecting us so much. Now when we buy lights, maybe 2-3 days, it's finished. If the work doesn't come frequently, we have to reduce some of the workers because of the light.
According to the Commission, residential electricity consumers will see an upward adjustment of 5.84%, and lifeline consumers will see a 3.45% increase. With calls for a reverse of the increments falling on deaf ears, the effects remain obvious for customers. Judith Brown, TV3 News, Accra.
We'll stay on price hikes, and in Accra's bustling Kwame Nkrumah Circle, many residents rely on public bathrooms, paying 2 Ghana cedis per visit. However, the recent announcement of a 5.16% increase in water tariffs by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission may come at an additional cost to the community. Godwin Asidiba has more.
The Kwame Nkrumah Circle in Accra is a hive of activity. Amid the crowded street and busy markets, a less visible part of daily life occur. Many residents here rely on public bathrooms for their hygiene needs, paying a modest fee of 2 Ghana cedis for each visit. However, with the recent announcement of increased water tariffs by the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, this modest fee may soon rise, posing a significant challenge for these residents. Ifia Asantewa, a mother of 3, is one of such residents, living in a small shed apartment with no private bathroom. Ifia depends on the public bathrooms at the circle.
It's expensive. We used to pay 1 Ghana cedis 50 pesos, and now it's 2 Ghana cedis. Sometimes even 3 Ghana cedis. I sometimes have to beg. It's a big problem.
The Commission's decision to raise water tariffs by 5.16% from July 1, 2024 is part of a broader effort to maintain the financial viability of utility services. However, this increase, while necessary for sustaining these services, has immediate and tangible effects on people like Ifia. For public bathroom operators like Yusuf Asare, the tariff hike means higher operational costs.
I will also make sure to increase the fee. If they don't pay, I will shut off the water. It will also affect my business, but I can't provide free services.
This potential increase is a source of worry for many residents. Mark Echampong, a bus conductor who also relies on the public bathrooms, voices his concerns.
It be expensive. Money no the system. Go and buy for here. 2 cedi.
The increased tariffs are part of a broader review that includes a 3.45% hike for lifeline electricity consumers and higher increases for other categories. The goal is to ensure that utility providers can continue to deliver their services effectively. But for residents and traders of the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, this comes with a personal cost.
It's not fair. So we are begging them. We need the water.
As the new tariffs come into effect, The residents and traders of Kwame Nkrumah Circle are bracing for the impact. This increment is significant, especially for those who rely on public bathrooms for their daily hygiene needs. Many people, particularly those in Circle, use these facilities due to lack of access to private bathrooms. The increased water tariffs will directly impact the cost of using these public amenities, potentially placing a financial strain on individuals who are already managing limited resources. Public bathrooms operators may pass on the increased cost of their users, leading to higher fees for access to clean water and sanitation. This could disproportionately affect low-income individuals and families who depend on affordable public facilities for their basic hygiene needs. Godwin Asideba, TV3 News, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Accra.
Now, Finance Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam has taken a swipe at the Chamber of Independent Power Producers, accusing it of misinformation and public regarding the renegotiation of the power purchase agreements. Now, his comments follow a recent statement by the Chamber denying that government had reached an agreement with IPPs to restructure its debts. Addressing journalists during a joint press conference by Ministry of Finance and the IMF, the minister described the actions of the chamber as regrettable.
I have read from the media yesterday the Chamber of IPPs disputing the assertion of our concluded negotiation with the IPPs. And I'm sure that he wasn't well informed at the time the chamber issued the statement. I want to repeat that. We've reached agreement with Amandi, Sen Power, Early Power, Senate, and AXA. We have 7 IPPs and we've reached agreement with 5 of them. That is very positive for our country. It tells us that the threats of shutting down power plants will be a thing of the past, because we are committed to implementing the terms of this agreement. We already have started performing on our side, and to date, government has paid in excess of $400 million United States dollars to all IPPs as part of our performance of the agreement that we just reached. And therefore, for a chamber representing IPPs not to be informed about these developments and will issue a statement on behalf of the IPPs without consulting with them is really unfortunate. I hope that will be guided going forward, because it is not in our interest to always go there with false information, with negative information. What for? What do we want to achieve? Should it not be in our interest as a country that government has worked tirelessly to reach agreement with IPPs? Is it not in our interest as a country?
Right here on your Election Command Center, the National Democratic Congress is proposing that the Electoral Commission adjust its calendar to accommodate its technical and technological challenges since it rolled out electoral activities. The NDC's Director of Elections made a passionate appeal to the UNDP to assist the elections management body with support ahead of the December polls.
With the December 7 elections barely 5 months away, the opposition, the National Democratic Congress, says the IT department of the EC has proven itself technologically inefficient.
We made an emphatic call on particularly the UNDP to provide the Electoral Commission of Ghana with technical assistance, because it's very clear the IT department of the EC is dead. It doesn't exist. It is this same IT department that used a CorelDRAW to be calculating a number of people who were registered. The way the IT department of the EC has gone about its work so far is very clear they are not up to the task.
The ruling NPP, although not opposed to the call for reinforcement, says that call should not come from the opposition.
Calling for external body to come in to train or offer technical services. I think it's the right call, but this should be the mandate of the Electoral Commission based on their needs assessment and also looking at the capacity base of their people to be able to determine that. It should not look as if that it is them that have called for it. The Commission doesn't see the need to upgrade or look at those particular technical areas.
The NDC is also calling for a review of the calendar to make room for the inefficiencies emanating from the voter transfer, proxy voting and special voting exercises. But the NPP disagrees.
Because of these adjustments that are coming, we have asked the EC to look at the calendar of activities and ensure that all these activities are well aligned with the calendar. We do not want any stampeding. So because of their own omissions, they are having to squeeze some of these emergencies in there. We want them to just readjust the calendar.
I think that the EC is even ahead because the CI says it's only 42 days to the election that there will be cut-off point. But the next few days, a week, the EC says all access in terms of transfer, proxy, special voters list comes to an end. We all support and see how it goes.
As election day draws near, the Commission's readiness remains a crucial concern in determining the success or otherwise of the December 7 polls. Noble Crosby and TV3 News, Accra.
Now, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has presented his choice of running mate to the leadership of the new Patriotic Party. The meeting was reportedly held at the MPP headquarters in Accra. Now, the national organizer of the party, Henry Nanabuache, in a Facebook post said Dr. Bawumia officially informed the party leadership on his choice following an earlier presentation of nomination to the Majority Caucus in Parliament. Now, the nomination is now awaiting the decision of the National Council, which is the final approving body of the MPP. The National Council is set to meet Thursday, July 4, where Dr. Bawumia is expected to announce his choice. On to some more stories. The Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei-Chume, is urging examination bodies like WAEC to reform their assessment processes to include the students' critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. Now, speaking at the 2024 STEM conference, the minister argued that this will help foster the innovative mindset that the country needs to tackle complex real-world problems.
Had a meeting with WAEC about 3 weeks ago, and I made it very clear that the tail is not going to wag the dog. What I meant by that is that we can preach about critical thinking. If by your WAEC assessment exams it's not assessing critical thinking, you are in trouble. What I realized was that most of the questions was up to level 3, 4, 5, and 6, which will ensure that the students were thinking critically, was not part of the exams. So how can you create an examination system that is encouraging rote memorization when you are preaching about critical thinking? Our rural schools that we have revamped, they are going to be part of what is called B-STEM. Those schools are going to get mobile labs. In fact, we have UNICEF designed something called Learning Passport, and they are in our schools now.
That's how we wrap up the 6 a.m. news right here on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. We go for a short break. We'll be back with the rest of New Day. Good morning.